We're all stronger together, and I think we're all much better off when we have conversations with other people because it's sharing knowledge.
Succession laws are different, the tax is different. We have inheritance tax here which applies to the estate of the person who's died.
So you come to different people for their different areas of expertise.
Yeah. My preference would be that you don't wait. So you don't wait until you need it. It's something you do in readiness, you know, and it might be something you do in the hope that you never need it.
The number of people seeking an Irish passport has just really shot up, particularly over the last 10 years.
You can have one will that covers it all. I think my preference is that you would make two.
We offer all sorts of services to the community, from culture and heritage events, Irish language, conversation groups, classes. We've got a huge Irish community here in Coventry. We've been going at the Coventry Irish Society for over 30 years.
My advice to clients who I meet with assets in both places is that you make a will here for your English assets and a will there for your Irish assets. Hi Caroline, really nice to see you.
Hi Lucy.
I thought I would sort of start our chat by asking you a little bit about the Irish Society, if that's all right. If you can tell us what it is and what their role is.
Oh, absolutely. It's my favourite topic. We've got a huge Irish community here in Coventry, and we've been going at the Coventry Irish Society for over 30 years. We celebrated our 30th anniversary a few years back. And we offer all sorts of services to the community, from culture and heritage events, Irish language events, conversation groups, classes. There's lots of Irish dancing schools in Coventry, 3 big GAA clubs, which is the Gaelic Athletic Association. So there's all sorts going on. And we also support members of the community with, you know, day-to-day issues as well. So on a Monday, for example, we've got a dementia and early memory loss support groups. That's people who are experiencing early memory loss, and the people supporting them as well, you know, that they can come along for some support. So that's taking place on a Monday now. We have regular lunch clubs. We've got a wellness walk that goes on, and they're just getting started with that and finding new routes to go around. And we do a lot of casework as well, supporting people with, say, housing applications. We do lots of Irish passport applications. The number of people seeking an Irish passport has just really shot up, particularly over the last 10 years. We also support survivors of islands institutions, so typically women and their children who have been in mother and baby homes or industrial schools. So we've got all sorts going on.
A really wide range.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what brought you into the society?
Well, I've always been really proud of my own Irish heritage. Yeah. So my granddad came over from County Mayo back in, I think it was in the 1940s he came over. And he always says to me, if you want to know the year, go and look at the year on the Lady Godiva statue in Broadgate, which I think is 1949, because that's the year he came over. So he's not with us anymore, but I always think of him when I see that. And he came over just like lots did during those times, seeking work. And he ended up working in the Jaguar car factory. Right. I think he was there for about, 30, 40 years, you know, his whole life, and other family members have gone through similar footsteps. So the car industry, as we know, in Coventry was just huge, particularly in the 70s and 80s. So I've always really been proud of my heritage, and I'm learning to speak Irish myself.
Oh, fantastic.
Which is just a lifelong journey for me. But how I got involved with the Irish Society here was through going through work with the Birmingham Irish Association, where I used to be a trustee on the board there. So I was practicing as a solicitor in Birmingham, but also working on the board on a voluntary basis for the Birmingham Irish Association. And we used to run free legal advice clinics there, which was really, really rewarding. And there's just so much stuff going on in Birmingham as well. And it's really nice to collaborate with our friends over in Birmingham.
Yes.
So my pathway so I'm Coventry born and bred. So it's been a very natural progression for me to come over. And they're just such a wonderful team at Coventry as well. And everyone's just got so much enthusiasm, so much going on.
Oh, that sounds lovely. And so what's unique then about the Irish community in Coventry?
Well, I would say, we're really special, aren't we? But I think there's that real sense of, people looking out for each other, and supporting each other, and a real strong sense of celebrating identity, but also being proud to live in Coventry as well. Coventry is just such, a wonderful, diverse city, and it's the city of peace and reconciliation. So there's lots of different communities in Coventry, and I'm really keen for us all to just work together and support each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And with those people that you do support, is there often still a link back home, back in Ireland, whether that's
absolutely.
family,
One of the first questions, Lucy, people will always say is, so what county are you from? And it's the most important thing before anyone even asks what your name is. So my counties are Mayo for my granddad, and County Louth for my nan.
Right.
But yeah, I just love all of Ireland. People are very proud of where they come from. And I think we see that through all generations, through the dancing, learning the language, and the sports as well. And, we have a huge St. Patrick's programme going on every year, which has now become a bit of a month,
not just a day. Oh, that's fantastic. And do you see a place for organisations to sort of come together to work with your members?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very much keen. I think all organisations need to sort of look out there and collaborate, because I think we're all stronger together, and I think we're all much better off when we have conversations with other people, because it's sharing knowledge, it's dovetailing. So for example, just in the past 12 months, we've been working collaboratively with Warwick University, and we recently had a wonderful intern called Charlie who came over for us and did some support work, making videos about the work we do, and in particular about the work that we do with survivors. And we've also worked with charities like Mind, supporting people with mental health challenges, and coping techniques, all that sort of thing. So I'm really, really keen for to get out and meet as many people as we can, and I think it's really good for people to dovetail, really, and share knowledge, because not everybody has all the answers for everything. So you come to different people, for their different areas of expertise.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you find sort of the same questions come up a lot? Whether that's with property back in Ireland or anything that we could help people with?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a very common question that often comes up, people moving back to Ireland. So it might be people, say, like my granddad's generation, who came over, they were born in Ireland, but they want to have their final pathway out back home in Ireland. And we would signpost them to organisations in Ireland who can assist with getting registered with doctors and things like that over there. But there are, quite rightly, very sensible questions that people will ask about how they deal with properties and pensions. So if you have people who have worked their adult life over here and have put into pension pots over here, what happens to that, and the tax implications. So, this is all very technical stuff. So on this, we would always say, somebody needs to go and get specialist advice, but it's just knowing where to start. And I always think just even knowing what the sensible questions are is probably a good place to start.
Oh, fantastic. And obviously I work with the preparation of wills and things like that. So does that issue arise very, very frequently?
Yeah, I've been asked the question before from people saying, well, we've got the family home back in Ireland and it might be shared between, siblings, and we've got a family home over here in England. Do they just need one will? What's the situation?
It is a sort of a grey answer, if you like. There's not just one answer. So you can have one will that covers it all. I think my preference is that you would make two. You would make one here for the assets here, and you would make one in Ireland for the assets in Ireland. And part of that reasoning is so that you can get specialist advice in each place. because succession laws are different, so the tax is different. We have inheritance tax here, which applies to the estate of the person who's died, whereas in Ireland, I know it's CAT, and I've got to just check.
Right, well, that's a new one on me.
Irish Capital Acquisitions Tax, applicable there, and I believe that's applicable per beneficiary. So it's very different. So my advice to clients who I meet with assets in both places is that you make a will here for your English assets and a will there for your Irish assets, taking on board that specialist advice. Also, a couple of sort of pointers is that you want to make sure one will doesn't revoke the other.
Right.
Because when you sign a new will, you know, a week later or whatever, the normality is that you've revoked the other will. So that's a very key part to remember. Also, you'd make it specific to each country. You know, this will deals with my assets in this country. But yes, we've had sort of a few estates that cross over, and it can be tricky. And I think it's good if the two different wills can work together, or the people can work together, the executors.
I was just going to say that, would it be best practice to even do it at the same time, really?
Yes,
so that you're perhaps even talking to the person over in Dublin or wherever they may be.
Absolutely. And that way your probate applications can go off at the same time.
Right.
You know, you're not going to do one and then wait and then do the other. So it should work more sort of succinctly if you did have the two wills. That would be my preference.
Yeah. Oh, that's really interesting. So as soon as we start asking these questions, like I said, you need to know the questions first. But as soon as you start, it triggers so many different things, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And the same would be the case for powers of attorney. You know, we know how important they are for people, you know, if they become poorly in later life and they can't do things themselves, can't make decisions or take actions themselves. But the same applies there. If you've got assets here and assets in Ireland, Ireland is not going to automatically follow our lasting powers of attorney. They use enduring powers of attorney in Ireland. So again, my advice to people would be sort something out here, sort something out there to make sure it's applicable for all assets, really. So there is the crossover, but there's getting the right advice in each place, I would say.
Can you talk me through the difference between lasting power of attorney and enduring power of attorney? Because these are phrases that
people hear.
We hear, but what's the difference? And when do we really need these? Do you wait till somebody's quite ill? Because it's a horrible conversation to have,
It is a difficult conversation. From the point of view of England and Wales, we can only make new lasting powers of attorneys now. If you made an enduring power of attorney before, I think it was October 2007, then they're still valid. But from that date, you couldn't make any further new ones.
Right.
So we really operate with lasting powers of attorney here. In Ireland, I do know that they operate with enduring powers of attorney. So they're obviously going to be different to ours, but that's what they're called over there. So it's the same idea, giving somebody else the power to make decisions for you. And with regards to when, my preference would be that you don't wait. So you don't wait until you need it. It's something you do in readiness, you know, and it might be something you do in the hope that you never need it. It might sit in the filing cabinet.
Like insurance, I guess. It's there if you need it.
Yeah. The risk of waiting is that there's registration periods, so currently maybe about 20 weeks. So if you really needed it, you know, we can't get it through any quicker for you. So to do it whilst you're fit and well and don't need it is the best scenario, really, so that it's there waiting if you do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, fantastic. Well, look, Caroline, I hope that what we've covered, you know, might be of relevance to some of your members.
Absolutely. It's got my brain sort of buzzing away because it's I think raised so many more things, but that's really helpful, I think, for people who will be watching this podcast to sort of get a bit of an idea of some of the issues that might impact them and just some of the things that they might need to think about. So so that's been really wonderful to go through that. Thank you for inviting us in today to Ward and Ryder. It's lovely to see you. Thank you,
Caroline.